Well, I'm Carolyn Casson. I'm president and CEO of Michigan Women Forward. And my background was really in healthcare, believe it or not. I was a healthcare entrepreneur. I spent my career trying to change end of life care in this country. I founded the first national for-profit hospice company in the United States,
It's
named
amazing.
VistaCare, which ultimately went public and sold. And then I came back to Michigan, and I couldn't be in the hospice business anymore. So I I just wanted to do something to give back to my community and to the state that had really launched me, taught me everything I knew about business, and really made me successful. I think good Midwestern values that I took all over the
Yes.
United States, and I think a good work ethic about just trying to make a difference in your community. And so when the opportunity came up for me to run this small nonprofit, which we've all turned into a big nonprofit now.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's been very exciting. And we started doing something that I didn't have, which was when I was starting out, is investing in women entrepreneurs and really being committed to their success. I sort of did this by trial and error, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
Yeah.
So Michigan Women Forward really takes a woman and walks with her throughout the entire journey, invests money in her, teaches her the rules of the game,
Yeah.
and really helps her succeed. So I love doing it. It's a great privilege, a great honor. And even though I could have gone back to running a hospice program 10 years ago, I will never go back because this work is not only fulfilling and meaningful, but it's really important. I learned that we really needed this, and I would have been a better entrepreneur and had a smoother path if I had had an organization like this to help me.
Well, that's amazing. I love everything that you shared. And I love your background. That's so fascinating to me
Oh,
to
that's that. Oh, yeah.
hear,
Yeah.
how you got started and where our paths lead us as entrepreneurs and women in business. So, for those who aren't familiar with Michigan Women Forward, can you tell us a little more about what your mission is and what you do?
Well, our mission is really to change the economy. It's a pretty bold mission. The economy, women didn't think up the economy. The economy got thought up by men hundreds of years ago, and it doesn't always work for women. As you probably know, with that beautiful baby sitting on your lap, it isn't as easy. We tend to have more responsibility for a lot of the things that go on in the home and a lot of the things that go on in the world, and with our children. And so the economic system is heavily weighted towards men. And so what we try to do is to just kind of level that a little bit as a mission. Our vision is to create more women entrepreneurs, more people of color, people who haven't had a lot of the opportunities or the advantages. Maybe they didn't have family money to start that business. They needed somebody to believe in them. They needed somebody to just help them, hold their hand. So I say sometimes we stand behind you and we push you forward. Sometimes we stand in front of you and we pull you.
Yeah,
And sometimes we just walk alongside of you, and at the end, we're just at the finish line cheering you on.
it's amazing. So great. Such a great mission and so important because, like you said, there's just not enough. There hasn't been enough out there for women in business. And
No, not
um,
specific to them. There's
yes.
plenty of. I mean, I went to business school. I studied business,
Hmm.
and I learned a lot. But
Yeah.
it's not it. Nobody ever talked to me about some of the nuances of, well, how do you start a business and grow a business, but also take good care of your family and have a little bit of time for some friends, and how do you do
Yes.
all of that? And
Yes,
so
definitely.
so those are the kind of things that we, that I think are really needed, is kind of specialized mentors, specialized trainers, people who really have gone through it before them.
Yeah, this is, it's so funny. I have a podcast launching April 1 called Mom Boss Central, and it's
Oh,
all
I love
for
it.
mom entrepreneurs. And I feel like the conversations are just overlapping. So we'll have to chat about that more later
I love
because,
I I love that, because
yeah.
it's incredibly hard, and you
Hmm.
probably should interview my children to see whether I think whether they think that I did a very good job or not. They turned out to be quite wonderful, so I must have
That's what
done something
matters.
right.
Yes, yes.
But
And yeah, I think
yeah,
that the work you're doing shows that you've done a great job because you're aware of it and you're talking about it and you're helping other women and other moms overcome the challenges that I'm sure you faced firsthand running businesses and,
yeah,
being in it. Because I know for me, when I got
yeah.
into it, it was such a different world being a mom and being an entrepreneur of all the other things that we're juggling that just go unspoken and that are expected of
Right.
us. But
And I looked around. I looked around. I didn't. There wasn't anybody. Back in when I was really coming up through the ranks, most of the women who had the top level jobs didn't have children, and
mhm,
I had, like you, I had three children,
yeah,
and it's a juggling act
yeah,
that you get very good at. I think
hmm,
it really helps your business
oh
a
yeah,
lot, because you learn how to, pick and choose what's important. I
yeah,
didn't get to every game
hmm,
that I would have liked to have gone to, but I learned how to be upfront about it and honest. I can't
yeah,
go to this one, but I can go to this one, and to
yeah,
make time in your day for all of it. People always ask me about work life balance,
yeah.
and you should do a whole podcast on this. But there really isn't any balance. It's really more like a teeter totter. Some
It's
days
so
I'm really
funny.
good at being at CEO, and then
Yeah,
some days I'm really good at being a mom. And if you kind of announce that and ask for forgiveness on those days where you're not so good at one or the other,
yeah.
you get a lot farther, and you're
I
just
love
honest
that.
about it.
I love that teeter totter analogy because that's so good. And that's a question I ask to the moms that come on my show is, do you
Yeah,
believe in work life balance or is it more work life integration? Because I agree. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know if you know who John Maxwell is. I was in a room with him. I asked him, I said, what's your tips for work life balance? He says, it's not possible. It's about embracing the season that you're in. And I just think that,
right.
that's so much of what it is embracing the season.
Yeah,
Or like you said, that teeter totter of each day or even each hour, I'm going to
right.
focus on one, focus on the other. So yeah, I love
Correct.
that. I love that.
That's how I got through it.
Yeah.
I really focused on each, and sometimes it is hour by hour.
Yeah.
I'm going to be good at this, and then I'm going to step out and be good at this and do the right thing. But if at the end of the day you feel good that you made the right decisions,
Yeah.
they didn't always work out exactly the way you wanted them to, and you didn't get to everything. But you get up again and try to do a little bit better job tomorrow.
Yeah, that is so true and so great. And I'm glad that we're talking about that because I think that's important for people to hear. That reminder that, you don't have to be doing 100% on everything all the time. So, and no one is.
You
And if you
can't.
think they are,
You
yeah,
can't.
if they say they are, they're not really telling the truth because we're all doing the best we can.
Yeah, and if
So,
you don't tell the truth to yourself,
yeah,
it's hard to really succeed. You've got to be honest, and you've got to say, and there wasn't anybody except my friends to tell this to.
hmm,
Like, this is painful for me. It is
yeah,
painful that I'm the only mom that sends store-bought cookies,
yeah,
because
yeah.
I don't have time to make them,
I
and those
know.
kind of
Yeah.
things.
That's so,
And
yeah, that's
yeah,
truly why I created that community of Mom Boss Central for other
good,
entrepreneurial
good,
moms. Because like you said, it's like if we're not talking
yeah.
about it, it can be so isolating to be in that space. But gosh, I could talk to you for hours about that.
Yeah, we
To-
will. We'll talk about that. We'll talk
yeah,
about that's another.
We'll
Yeah.
have to do another one for the podcast. But for Michigan Women Forward, talk about the big goals that you guys are working on right now. Yeah, where are you guys at? What are you working on?
The biggest goal that we're really trying, there's two things that we're really trying to do, that's in front of us right now, we want to see the economy really diversify. Women make progress so slowly. Has been the frustrating thing of my life, is that we take two steps forward and then we end up taking a step back. So seeing women in the economy, and having businesses be owned by women and be successful. That's really, it's not, anybody can start a business. It's making a successful business, a profitable business. And then the other thing we're really trying to do is scale. We really want to be a much larger business, because what we found is that once we started investing in women
Mhm.
and started making loans to them or giving them grants, when they aren't quite ready yet, for a loan, is that there are 600 women in our pipeline.
Yeah,
Our pipeline is so full.
yeah,
Everybody wants to start a business, but we don't have the resources. So we've got to get much larger. We do about 100 loans a year, which is good. I mean, we started out doing two. The first year we did two, and so we've grown,
yeah,
but we need to do 200 loans, 300 loans, 500 loans, and help. And they're not all startups. Sometimes they're what I call bin ups. They're businesses that have been around, but no, a lot of times women don't take the time to learn how to scale a business. And so those are the things we're really working on. We're also working on, honoring and celebrating women. This is Women's History Month, and that's a very exciting time because it really allows us to remind ourselves that we've come a long way, but we've got a long way to go. So
definitely.
what else do we need to do? And so we do some things we call Women Up and Celebrate, and we celebrate, um, the women that have done great things, and then the women that are doing really good things that have the potential to do great things. And so we've
Yeah,
got to honor those women. We've got to point them out. We've got to, give them awards.
yeah,
Men have been giving each other awards for a very long time, about how
yeah,
great they are. And
yes.
so women need to do the same thing.
Definitely. I love that. And I think that that is, part of being here and with Women's History Month and the Michigan Women's Hall of Fame. Why do you think that's important as you've been in the space?
Well, I've learned a lot. I have to tell you, I was always a women-owned business. Obviously, all of my businesses were women-owned because they were owned by me, so, or led by me.
Yeah.
And when I was in the nonprofit sector, they were led by me. But, I just think that my whole approach was just powering through. I'm just going to power through this, as opposed to looking around me, which I've had the opportunity to do at this stage of my life, is to look around me and say, you know that's a problem we could solve. This is something we could do something about.
Yeah.
We should be lending into this space. We need some expertise in this space.
Yeah.
So I spend a lot of time now, kind of trying to hone in on doing something better than we've been doing it,
Mhm.
doing it faster, doing more of it, and not doing the things that we don't do very well.
Yeah.
A lot of success is related to saying no.
Oh yeah.
We
That's
don't
so
have
good.
to do everything. We don't have to say yes to every issue. I
Yep.
care deeply about all issues that affect women, but I can't solve all of them. So
Yeah.
we're going to just stay focused and in our lane, and we're
Yes.
going to, we're going to work with what I call the first rung of the ladder. Um,
Mhm.
that's getting women, even if it's not they've been doing this business on the side for a long time,
Mhm.
but they've got to get solidly on that first rung where they see themselves as a woman-owned business, as an entrepreneur, and succeed at it. Be
Yeah.
profitable. If it's just a hobby, then it's a hobby. but you don't care whether you make money at it or not. But for the women who do, and that's about 99% of them, you have to really stop and look at everything, dissect it, and figure out how could I make more money? How could I grow? How could I get into bigger markets? How can I do what I'm doing, but do it faster, bigger, and better?
Yes, definitely. You spoke about the growth that you guys have seen as an organization. Can you tell a little bit more about your background and the history of how it got started and where you started to where you are now?
As an organization, this organization it was here before me. This organization was started in 1986 by a group of women. Um, they were really a fascinating group of women. There were both sides of the aisle. Those were the days where Republicans and Democrats got along and liked each other and worked well together. And
Yes.
these women were, some of them were very, very wealthy. Mary Jo Pulte, who came from a phenomenally, she's from Grand Rapids, but her family is here in Detroit. They started a very successful business, and she took some of her money and invested it into this organization. Helen Milliken, is the wife of a Republican governor, and women from the labor movement, Millie Jeffries. These are women that came from different walks of life. Some had a lot of resources, some had not many, but they wanted to do one thing. They wanted to kind of highlight women's accomplishments, and they wanted to make sure that women used their money wisely. It was always, interestingly enough, it was about money.
Yeah.
That women they gave a lot of money in the olden days.
Yeah.
Women were the philanthropists in
Hmm.
the family. They picked what charities to give to often. And so, when I came to this organization about 10 years ago, I said, I don't want to be a charity. I want to really invest in women. And
Yeah.
so we shifted gears, and we started lending people money, which they paid back, which helped them learn a lot about business, and it allowed them to grow much larger than they could have. So this organization grew from being kind of of an organization that was supportive of anything that would help women, which is great. Um, but they stayed very, very small, and they did not really um, figure out a business model for this organization. And so I decided that, we were going to treat this like its own little organization that had to figure out how to make money. And we make money partly by philanthropy, by women being generous, women who care about issues related to women. They give us money. We also get a little bit of money from the lending. We lend people money, and then they pay it back, and we use the interest money on that to hire staff to do more lending, that
Mhm.
sort of thing. And
Yeah.
then we've really talked a lot to corporations and foundations about what do they want the world to look like. And many of them say the very same things that I've said is we want the economy to look a little bit more diversified. We want women to succeed. We want women to break through the glass ceiling. And we're willing to invest in your organization so that you can help women do that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how our organization shifted gears a little bit. We still stay true to our founders, but we do a few more things than maybe they had envisioned. But I
Yeah.
think they'd be okay with.
I think so too. I think what you're doing is so great. And I love how you've explained the evolution of, following the needs of women and what's important
Mhm.
and how can you best serve them. So we've touched on it a little bit, but for those who aren't familiar, what services do you offer? How do you partner
Yeah,
with women and,
specific.
who would reach out to you and for what?
Anyone who wants to start or grow a business, it should reach out to us if they need help, support, advice, mentors, or dollars. A lot of people come to us because they think they need money, and they often don't need. as much money as they do just kind of the education
Yeah.
of here's how you could run a more profitable business.
Hmm.
So we do everything from lending to helping people analyze their business and figure out what they need to do differently, how they could better market their business, how they could could use social media channels
Yeah.
to sell something online. A lot of women think of, when they think of starting a business, they think of brick and mortar. They think of renting a space and baking their cookies and or whatever it is when they get
Yeah.
started. And so we try to help them think of alternatives,
Yeah.
and we assign people to them. The great thing about this organization is because it started out with a lot of philanthropy of women who cared about all women's issues. So we have a very large donor base of about 4,000 women, or mostly women. A few good men donate, but mostly it's women. And so then we put their expertise into good use. They're all over the state. They have, some of them work in corporate America, some of them are entrepreneurs,
Hmm.
some of them are at home taking care of kids and trying to raise those kids to be good people. And so we use whatever skills they have, and we tap them. We ask them for help. Sometimes people can do it, sometimes they can't, but they'll do it. I'm very tenacious. I just would ask them again. If you said,
Yes.
no, I can't do it right now because I just had a baby, I would say, okay, I'll call you in a year. And I would.
Yes. Definitely. That's the way to do it.
Yeah,
Fortunes in the follow up, isn't it?
exactly.
That's so great. Well, how do you guys, I know you've spoke about all the work you're doing and how you're Detroit based. So how do you impact local communities and who location wise can reach out to you? Are you guys
Sure.
exclusive to Detroit? Is it all of Michigan?
No, not at all. It's all Michigan. Yeah, we do have an office in Detroit, and that's where I am right now. That's beautiful downtown Detroit right there. See,
Oh yeah, there it is.
there's the casino back of me. But we also have an office in Grand Rapids on Cascade. So we have an office there. We have an office in Lansing on Washington Avenue, and we really, the beauty of this technology, which we didn't realize, I don't think, honestly, until COVID, is that we can lend anywhere.
Yeah.
We can lend anywhere in the state. We've been working closely with the state of Michigan and started something with their help called the Economic Opportunity Fund, the Michigan Economic Opportunity Fund, and so we have money from the state coffers and some of the federal dollars that came down to Michigan that we can invest all over the state. We are investing it. We have to invest it all over the state. So anybody from anywhere who's listening to your podcast, they do have to be a Michigan resident and a Michigan business.
Hmm.
If you have an international following, that probably but anybody else should just call us or go online to miwf.org and look and see, what we do.
Yeah.
If you're in a community that very few communities have micro lenders, which is what we call ourselves. We're a micro lender, meaning that we give out small loans.
Hmm.
Most loans, unless you can go to a bank, are pretty large. Most of the organizations that the federal government set up, called CDFIs, Community Development Financial Institutions. That's we're also designated as that. So you can see we've kind of just kept going. We
Yeah.
we we work with the SBA. We really have done everything that we could think of to
Yeah.
get funding for this organization, and then to redistribute it to women entrepreneurs.
That's amazing. So great. Do you guys have any upcoming events or how can people get connected
We do.
and support your mission?
we have two upcoming events, one on each side of the state, that are coming up in the next couple months.
Okay.
In West Michigan on May 15th, we have an event at the JW Marriott that we're going to honor two incredible women who, if you are in Grand Rapids, both Lysandra Geddes, who's the new CEO of the Community Foundation, and Shelley Irwin, who's been at the public radio and TV station, and she's amazing. Both of those women are we're going to honor, and they will become what's called Women of Achievement and Courage award winners, and so that'll be really fun. That's a luncheon, and then in Southeast Michigan, it will probably be having the event in early June, and we're going to honor two, maybe three more women. The reason I don't know as much about it is we haven't heard from the third woman yet, whether she can fit us into her schedule. But I think everybody will want to come there because she's the owner of one of our great sports teams.
Oh,
So,
wow.
we're hoping
Yes.
that she'll do that.
Yes.
But if not, we still have two other incredible women. Rachel Stewart, who owns Gardner White, who has become, who's not unlike our women. She really didn't think she would go into the family business, and now she's taking it to new heights and doing a really great job. And then Faye Nelson, who's known throughout the state as well, as she started the Riverwalk in Detroit and totally redefined what it means to what Detroit looks like.
Yeah.
And she also has been at the Kellogg Foundation for the last few years. So
Amazing.
pretty great.
Amazing
Yeah.
woman.
So that'll probably take place that first week of June.
Okay. That's amazing. And for those who want to get involved on a volunteer or awareness front, how can they get plugged in?
They should go to miwf.org and just contact us, look around on the website. We're actually getting a new website, so this website's a little clunkier than our new one will be in a couple of months, but you can still navigate around it and see if you're interested in a loan, if you're interested in a workshop, if you're interested in just learning more about about how to run your business. Lots and lots and lots of resources on there. And if you want to come to one of our events, look for the Women Up and Celebrate events. And those events will be on there. We also have a Hall of Fame, a Michigan Women's Hall of Fame, which we acquired about 5 years ago. This has been around since even long before this organization was founded. But they were they're a group of women who were kind of aging out of wanting to run the Hall of Fame anymore.
Yeah.
And we were wildly enthusiastic about it. We thought it would be great. It would give us an opportunity to take it to the next level and to, find the next generation of Hall of Famers. And so the nominations for Hall of Fame are open right now. So if anybody out there has somebody in their life or somebody they've heard of that they know of who's inspired them, that they want to be a Hall of Famer, just go on and look. It has a list of them, so you won't send in an application for somebody who's already been inducted into the Hall of Fame. So that's kind of fun.
That's amazing.
We've got lots of things to do. You can there's this She Shines Award, which you can bestow on a woman who you think is inspirational and helpful, and who has just gotten you through, whatever you needed to be supported. This is a way for you to honor somebody, and you can do that on our website, and we'll do anything from just let them know about that they were nominated, and then, or in some instances, we pick people who we actually go out to their business and give them flowers for all they're doing for the community. And then we do, we send a note to them, kind of a little note that says, "You shine." And
Yeah,
so, yeah, it's
that's
very cool. It's
amazing.
fun. We
So
do things like
cool.
that all throughout the year. So if you watch, we've, and it only costs $18 you donate $18. And why $18? Well, because women make 18% less than men do in the very same job. So we thought that was kind of a fun hook, to say, okay,
Yeah.
you know, put that $18 that should have gone into your paycheck, but went into the man's paycheck who's
Yeah.
sitting right next to you. So
Yeah,
yeah,
wow.
fun.
It's amazing all the great work that you're doing. It feels like we could go on and on forever, but yeah, I'm just so grateful for the work that you're doing and the ways that you're lifting women up in the community and around the state of Michigan. I think it's amazing to hear how the organization has evolved and how the work that you're doing is having such a big impact
Right.
on so many women's lives. So I'm just
Well,
so
thank
grateful for
you.
this conversation. We will have all of your information linked, but besides your website, what is your social media? Where should people follow if they want to follow along?
Oh dear, I should know this, right? We are on. You can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, LinkedIn. Just search
Perfect.
for Michigan Women Forward. We're
Perfect.
we're yeah,
We'll have
we're
it linked
everywhere.
below so people can find
Okay.
you. Well, Carolyn, thank you so much for the conversation. I am looking forward to how many women are excited to hear about these services and reach out to scale their business to the next level.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate this. This is very, very kind and generous of you to allow us to talk about Michigan Women Forward. So thank you so
Yes.
much.
Yeah, thank you. That was so great. I'm so happy that